You know that empty space on your roof? What if I told you it wasn't just sitting there? What if it could become your very own personal power plant right here in sunny Singapore? Well, today, that's exactly what we're going to dig into, how you can harness all that sun and totally transform your building. So if that idea sparks even a little bit of interest, then you're already asking all the right questions. And stick around, because we're about to find the answers together. Okay, first things first. Not all solar is created equal. You've got solar thermal, which, is basically a sun-powered water heater, awesome for a hot shower, for sure. But we're focusing on the real game changer, solar PV. That stands for photovoltaic. This is the tech that turns sunlight directly into electricity for, well, your whole place. To make this super clear, we've mapped out the whole journey for you. We're going to start with Solar Power 101, then jump into the cool tech choices. After that, we'll figure out if your building is actually ready for this, walk through the installation process, and finally, the best part, what it's like to actually live with solar power. All right, let's dive in. Section 1. So, where do you even start? Well, before you start dreaming about panels on your roof, there's a really big fundamental choice you've got to make first. Basically, you've got two paths to choose from. Path 1, the most common one, is a grid-connected system. Think of the national grid as your own giant invisible battery. You can pull power from it when you need to, and, get this, you can actually sell your extra unused power back to them. The other path, going completely off-grid. You become your own personal power island, totally self-sufficient. Okay, so once you've figured out if you're going to be on the grid or off it, now comes the really fun part. We're talking about choosing the actual hardware, the heart of your entire system. Right. Here in Singapore, your choice really comes down to three main types of panels. You've got the two big silicon players, monocrystalline and polycrystalline, and then there's a more flexible contender called thin film. And honestly, the best choice isn't always the one you'd expect. So the first thing everyone asks about is efficiency, right? Like how much sun actually turns into electricity. And yeah, on paper, monocrystalline panels look like the clear winner. That up to 20% efficiency, that means if you've got a small roof, these panels are going to give you the most power for that limited space, the most bang for your buck. But hold on, raw efficiency is not the whole story, especially not here with Singapore's heat. This is where this nerdy-sounding thing called temperature coefficient becomes super important. Just think of it like this. How well does the panel perform when it gets crazy hot? The bigger that negative number, the more power it loses. And look at that. The thin film panels, they are absolute superstars in the heat. They might not be the most efficient to start with, but on a blazing hot afternoon, they just keep on chugging along way better than the others. All right, so you've picked out your dream tech. Awesome. But even the best panels in the world are useless if your building isn't a good candidate. So the big question is your location right for solar? Okay, here's a little pro tip just for us here in Singapore. The magic number for your panel angle, it's between 10 and 15 degrees. That's the absolute sweet spot for catching the most sun. And here's a cool bonus. That angle is just perfect for our heavy rains to wash the panels clean for you. Free cleaning. But listen, even more important than the angle is one single word, shade. You absolutely have to avoid it. You might think, oh, it's just a little shadow from a tree. What's the big deal? It is a huge deal. Because of how these panels are wired together, shading just one tiny cell is like putting a kink in a hose. It can seriously kill the power output for the entire panel. Unobstructed sun is seriously non-negotiable. Okay, so before you pick up the phone to call an installer, just run through this quick mental checklist. First up, what's your budget? Second, where are these things going to go? The roof, the facade? Then, think back to what we just talked about. Which panel type makes the most sense for you? And finally, think about the long game. Is it easy to get up there for maintenance? And are the parts built to last, like 20+ years? All right, homework's done. Now it's time to make this thing a reality. Let's walk through what it actually takes to go from a plan to real live power. Now, all the paperwork can look a little intimidating, but honestly, your job is pretty simple. Just hire the right people. You need a good contractor and, this is key, a licensed electrical worker, or LEW. They're the experts who handle all the tricky stuff, like submitting the plans, doing the installation and testing, and then getting you that final official connection to the grid. And when you buy your panels, you'll get something called a power warranty. What is that? Well, think of it like an anti-aging promise from the manufacturer. They're basically guaranteeing that even after, say, 25 years out in the sun and rain, your panels will still be pumping out at least 80% of the power they did on day one. It's your long-term peace of mind. So, installation's done, the switch is flipped, you're officially a power producer. What happens now? What's it actually like to live with solar? Let's take a look and also see how it's already changing the face of Singapore. And you know what the best part is? These systems are incredibly low maintenance. Really. For the most part, you're just talking about a good cleaning every now and then and just checking to make sure all the connections are still tight. That's about it. And you can literally see the solar future popping up everywhere. I mean, just look at an icon like the Marina Barrage. You see those 405 panels up there? They're just quietly working away, powering the lights and everything else inside. Or how about this? Head down to the middle of Orchard Road. At 313 Somerset, solar isn't just slapped on the roof. It's actually part of the building's design. It's proof that clean energy can be beautiful. And look, it's not just for big, fancy landmarks. This is happening in our own neighborhoods. HDB rooftops all over Singapore are now generating clean power for things like lifts and corridor lights. It's happening everywhere. So when you think about going solar, don't just think about next year. Think in decades. A system that's looked after is easily an investment in over 20 years of your own clean, free power. So there you have it. We've looked at the tech, the process, and we've seen it working all across Singapore. Really, the question isn't if our buildings can become power plants anymore. The question is, how fast can we do it? The sun's up there ready to go. Is your roof next?